Hello friends, this was a most awaited topic and I was preparing for this over a very long period of time and fortunately I could come up with this video. Okay, so as I had committed, I thought of preparing a video on contracts and this was the topic in front of me. Now let us see what contract exactly means. Okay, now in simple layman's language, okay, a contract is simply an agreement or an undertaking between two parties or two persons. Okay, so this agreement is very important as far as the construction industry is concerned. Right now, because you all are students here, you should have heard about the word undertaking because the Usmania University has come up with this undertaking form because of the new promotion and detention rules. Okay, so like when you're supposed to sign an undertaking form where you're pledging or making a statement and signing it, so that's undertaking. Okay, you're promising to do or follow something. So this same thing happens over in a contract as well. Okay, now so here, let us look at some of the terms that we need to understand in order to understand contracts. So regarding contracts, first we need to be aware of who the owner is because owner is one of the two parties which I mentioned, and contractor is the second person. So in the field of construction, the construction project owner is the initiator of a construction project. Okay, initiator means the one who starts, who begins. Okay, so owner is the one who would initiate a project. Okay, so project could be a house or a building. So let's look at the definition once again. The project owner is someone who initiates a construction project, and that could be a house, a building, a dam, an irrigation canal, a highway road, railway station, and so on. Okay, so let us now look at definition of contract and contractor as well. So you see here the construction contract, okay, also consists of some promises or oaths, okay, to fulfill certain terms and conditions. Okay, so that's how I defined in very plain language about contractor. However, an engineer's definition of contract would be something like this. Okay, a construction contract is simply a formal agreement of terms between an owner and a contractor or specialist who intends to take on a job. Okay, so it is a formal agreement, okay, not a casual one. So it has certain terms and conditions which are discussed between the owner and the contractor. Okay, and the contractor is the one who undertakes the construction work. Okay, so job means the construction work and the different activities of construction. So now you can understand that the two persons which I described in the layman's definition of contract are actually the owner and the contractor. Okay, so in a contract, the two persons who are the parties in a contract are simply the owner and the contractor. Now see here, in the field of construction, okay, the construction project is the owner is the initiator, as I have already discussed. Then a contractor could be a firm, okay, or an individual that completes the construction project on a contractual basis. So for small projects, generally, we have a single person who is the contractor. But for very large projects, we have a developer or we have an organization or a firm which undertakes to complete the entire construction work. Okay, so let us move ahead now. See here, so you can see here that a construction contractor is a firm or individual who completes the construction projects on a contractual basis. Now, how is the contractor hired? Okay, generally, the contractor is hired by the builders, or he could be hired by the owner, okay, or third-party employers who provide independent professional services. So they have their own team, okay, who can, do the construction work. Then they plan the important project development and implementation well in advance because they are supposed to be doing this. They are a professional team and they are aware of the entire work. Okay, and they are also involved in determination and estimation of various issues in the project, such as the needed materials, equipment, etc. Because any construction activity requires lots of assets, lots of tools. Now, they also go with the managing the budget for completion. Now, this is also very important because a contractor, should be in a position, to arrange finance, sanction money as and when it is required. Okay, and a contractor is also someone who, gets the permits for building. Okay, now he should also ensure that the project complies completely with the required legal and regulatory issues. Okay, and the contractor would also be the one who would look out for the right subcontractors for different kinds of work under his belt. Like for example, if he has to get the painting work done or the electrical work done or the plumbing work done, he would simply hire the subcontractors who are who are experts in those particular works. Okay, then he has to monitor and check the project in terms of time schedule, okay, the safety aspects, the quality of work, and many other details which have already been specified in the project contract. Okay, and then he has the authority to review, modify and update the project program dependent on the latest changes and feedback. Okay, so apart from all this, last but not the least, a contractor should also be ensuring health and safety in the workplace. Okay, he should take all keen steps to ensure that no untoward accident occurs on the site. Okay, so he must have the appropriate emergency response systems in place and other preventive means for construction site safety. Okay, this is very, very important. Okay, right. Now we would just move ahead with this. There are different types of contracts. Okay, so as discussed, in Gehlot and the textbook Construction Planning and Management, we have these types of contracts and we have some other contracts as well. So the first contract is known as the lump sum contract, followed by the item rate contract, which is also known as the schedule contract or unit rate contract. Okay, the third one is a combination of lump sum and schedule contract. We would see shortly what these contracts mean. Okay, the fourth one is cost plus fixed fee contract, then followed by cost plus percentage of cost contract, and then finally we have some special contracts or the miscellaneous contracts. Okay, let us see in detail about lump sum contract. Okay, now lump sum contract is one of the oldest type of contracts, and these are still very much in practice in many lots of countries. Okay, this is a very simple kind of contract where the understanding is very simple. Okay, the contractor who is supposed to undertake the work would simply quote a fixed amount for the entire execution of work. Okay, so he, because based on the experience which he has in executing different kinds of projects, he knows the fixed amount. Okay, so he would be looking at the drawing design specifications, okay, which have been supplied to him along with the tender, and then he knows how much time is required to complete the work, and then he he just quotes the fixed amount, okay, taking in account his profit. Okay, schedule of rates so would also be provided to the contractor so that they could calculate the expense of extra items. If any extra items are supposed to be inculcated, if they are to be constructed, then the schedule of rates would determine the extra cost. Now now in this case, you see, unless and until the contractor completes the whole work, no payment would be released by the owner. Okay, but in some rare cases when there's a very big project, okay, depending upon the stage of completion of work, the contractor could be demanding some amount, and some amount would be released at at a different stage. So, but in most of the cases, okay, no, we don't expect any payment to be done to the contractor in any middle stage of construction. So, now these are some of the merits of lump sum contract. So, any for any kind of contract, generally, when we look at the merits or the demerits, okay, the contract could be advantageous for the owner it could be advantageous for the contractor, and sometimes it is unfavorable to the owner, or it may be favorable to the contractor, or sometimes it is favorable for the owner but unfavorable for the contractor. So let us see how lump sum contract is advantageous for project owner. So here, the predictability of the lump sum contract is primary benefit to project owner. Now you see here, the cost of the project is known well in advance. So for that reason, it becomes very easy for the owner to arrange the funds. Okay, he knows how much funds are required. He has that amount of money with him, and there is very little financial risk for owner, as the contractor is responsible for any cost overruns. So lump sum itself means a fixed amount. So when the amount is fixed, it cannot be changed. So if the project is getting delayed, or there are some extra costs which are to be incurred by the contractor, now that extra cost cannot be demanded by the contractor from the owner. Okay, now there is lots of advantages for the contractors as well. So here, see, lump sum contract requires very less official documents, documenting or paperwork. Okay, when accounting is less, and there is less of administrative cost. Okay, moreover, in this in lump sum contract, the contractor do not have to disclose how they are calculating the material or labor costs. In other words, they are not disclosing the item rate. Okay, now this way they can provide some estimation, okay, so as to ensure that they don't go over the budget. Okay, at the same time, if they are able to complete the project under the budget, so the extra savings would be a profit for the contractor. Okay, so the contractor doesn't have to share the profit with the owner. So these are the merits of lump sum contract for the contractor. Okay, there are certain disadvantages or demerits of lump sum contract as well. Okay, so for the project owner, what happens is the owner has to submit and stick to the completed designs and finalized plans. Okay, making the project inflexible. Now that changes could be made, it's very difficult to make the changes here. So there's, in case change is hard to be made, then there should be a different work order. There would be a different process of the contracting, and the terms and conditions would then differ. Okay, so it takes a whole lot of time for the updated contract and then the work to take place. Okay, moreover, you see, in case of unforeseen situations, okay, there could be a risk of high amount being charged by the contractor. Okay, so these are some of the demerits of lump sum contract for project owners. So for contractors also, there are certain disadvantages of lump sum contract. Let us have a look at them. So sometimes, as I mentioned before, um, the project, the cost of the project may go over the budget, over the planned budget, or over the expected budget. Now what happens in this case? So if the budget goes beyond a certain level, then it would consume into the profits. Okay, so the profit would be less for the contractor if the cost goes over the budget. Moreover, in case there is any modification in the project, then there is a time consuming paperwork. Okay, so unless and until the paperwork is completed, then he cannot go ahead with the progress of the work. The work has to be halted. Okay, and only after the paperwork is done, then he can resume the work. So when do we generally use a lump sum contract? So lump sum contract is more suitable when when we have an idea about the design specifications and we have a ready-made drawing with us. Okay, the entire documentation is known for us. So what happens is, uh, it becomes really very easy for the contractor to quote a lump sum amount. Okay, because based on the experience which he has, and by having a look at the drawing design specifications, he does calculate in his head and from his own team, and then he would be quoting an amount which would cover the profits as well. So the next type of contract is known as item rate contract, and please be aware of the fact that it could also be known as schedule contract or unit rate contract. So if you come across a term such as schedule contract or the unit rate contract, okay, do not get confused. It's same as item rate contract. Okay, so you can see here it's also known as unit price contract. So here, this one is different from lump sum contract because the contractor would be quoting his rates for the different items of construction. Okay, a construction work is composed of small activities. Okay, it starts with the excavation. It's then there is PCC or the plain cement concrete. Then you have the footing, reinforcement, shuttering, and so on. So for each of these items, the contractor would be proposing different rates, and then you see the total amount would be calculated. So here the bill of quantities, okay, would be prepared very accurately, and if there are any kind of variations which are unavoidable with regards to the quantities, then it should be accepted by both the parties, that is both the contractor and the owner. And most of the public works of the government are carried out under this form of contract, which is the item rate contract. Now, there are certain advantages of item rate contract. Here, most importantly, there is no prior need of detailed drawing. Okay, because you see that we are calculating the rates of the item. We are progressing with the work with the existing data which we have. Okay, and the cost would be known later. So the detailed drawing could be prepared later. It is not required during the initialization of the construction work. Okay, then the changes in the quantities of individual items can also be made as per requirements, because we have not finalized the total cost as of now, because we have started with the work. And if there is any kind of update in the quantity of the individual items, it could be accommodated. Okay, and it should not, it wouldn't be causing any hassle. Okay, now here this item rate contract appears more scientific because there is a detailed analysis of cost and payment to the contractor. It sounds more sensible, more logical, because the construction, the cost is proportionate to the items which have been used and the cost of labor and other miscellaneous expenses. Now, there are certain disadvantages of item rate contract as well. Okay, here the biggest demerit or the biggest disadvantage is that the total cost of the construction project could only be arrived at after the completion of project work, because we are calculating it item by item, activity by activity. So we are summing it up at the end of the project, and then we are getting to know the total cost. Now, in case this total cost exceeds a certain particular planned budget by the owner, then the owner finds himself in a big financial problem. Okay, so then he has to arrange funds from the bank, or he has to arrange funds from someone else. Okay, so this becomes a big problem. Moreover, in the case of item rate contract, we need to hire extra staff for taking the detailed measurement of project work. Okay, because you see the item rate contract, as the name suggests, it is dependent on the calculation of work done. So you see, a normal laborer, the conventional laborer may not be able to take the detailed measurement. So now extra staff has to be deployed in order to take the detailed measurement, and then this extra staff would be paid accordingly. So then you see there's a extra charges incurred. Moreover, the contractor would like to save money, and for that reason he may go for usage of lower quality materials, and because of that the life cycle of the project work decreases, because we know that the low quality material or the inferior quality material would not last as long as the superior quality material. Okay, we should never think about compromising on the quality of the project. Okay, and as I already mentioned, the cost is known only after the completion of the project. and the profit also would be known after the completion of project work. So now we now come to lump sum and schedule contract. So just for revision, we have gone through the lump sum contract. We went through the item rate contract. Now we have lump sum and schedule contract. So this is a combination of lump sum and schedule contract, which is nothing but another word for item rate contract. So what happens over here in lump sum contract, as we know, the complete work is carried out as per the existing plan and specifications, okay, by the contractor for certain fixed amount, okay. And in case of the lump sum contract, the owner also provides all the required information and the contractor charges certain amount, okay. So in this schedule in this lump sum and schedule contract, so there is an additional schedule contract, okay. And this is suitable when we have the limited number of items of construction, okay. And because of this limited number of items, it would be more easy to work out the exact quantities of work to be executed, okay. When we get to know the exact quantities of work to be executed, we can easily calculate the amount of money, right. Moreover, the detailed specification of all items of work, okay, the plans and the detailed drawings, security deposit, penalty, progress and other condition of contract would be included in the agreement, okay. So both of them would be on a clear page as what needs to be done regarding the work. Moreover, as there is an element of scheduled contract as well, okay, the contractor is paid at regular intervals of 2 to 3 months, okay, as per the progress of work on the basis of certificate issued by the engineer in charge. So what this exactly means? So the contractor will not have sufficient funds in order to keep the project or in order to keep the construction work going. So in this case, what happens is the contractor would be paid, okay, at the interval of 2 to 3 months, but only after having a look on the progress of work. Okay, when we look at the progress of the work, we understand that yes, we have confidence in this particular contractor, and then we can go ahead with sanctioning the required amount of money because we have the trust factor on that, and the certificate of confidence should be issued by the engineer in charge, okay, who would be measuring the work and who would be who would be submitting the daily detailed project report. Now, a scheduled of rate is included in agreement for making payment of extra items. So if there are any extra items which are incorporated in the original design, then the schedule of rates helps us in calculating the extra costs. Now, under a lump sum contract, we know that just a minute here. So under the lump sum contract, we know that, so we're not going to the previous slide here. Okay, so just let us go ahead with this. So we have this cost plus contracts, okay, which are very useful here again. Cost plus contract would include the basic cost for the entire project. Okay, the cost of the entire project means that the cost which is incurred by the owner in this case, okay, in order to buy the building materials and pay to the laborer, and in order to get the entire construction work done. Okay, so these type of contracts will include an agreed upon amount, okay, which is no agreed amount or percentage, okay, which would include the builder's overhead costs and profit that the owner also pays. Okay, so there are two components in cost plus contract generally. Okay, so cost implies the cost of materials, labor charges, and the project cost. Okay, and the additional factor which is added is generally either a fixed percentage or a fixed fee or a guaranteed maximum price. Okay, so based on what the additional the extra item is, okay, we have three types of cost plus contracts. Okay, so first one is the cost plus fixed percentage. Okay, now over there, in this cost plus fixed percentage contract, the payment covers the project cost and the builder's profit and overhead. Okay, so it is it is a sum of the associated project costs and the builder's profit and the overhead charges which are incurred initially by the contractor. Okay, the overhead charges could mean the insurance charges, liability charges, the maintenance charges. Okay, which cannot be calculated directly. It's similar to the indirect costs, in fact. Okay. Now, the amount paid for the builder's profit and overhead is dependent on a fixed percentage of the project cost. Okay. So, whatever is the project cost, okay, there is a certain percentage, which is decided and agreed by both the parties, and that percentage of amount would be added to the cost, okay, which eventually would be paid to the contractor. Okay, so payment here, in case of cost plus fixed fee. Okay, it includes the payment for the project's cost, and then there is fixed fee, okay, which covers the builder's profit and overhead charges. Okay, so that is cost plus fixed fee. Now this fixed fee is constant. Okay, it has nothing to do with the cost, whereas in the previous case, when we were discussing cost plus fixed percentage contract, okay, the fixed percentage factor was a percentage of the cost. Okay, some percentage of the cost is being added, and thus we get the cost plus fixed percentage. Then we have this third type of cost plus contract known as cost plus guaranteed maximum price contract. Okay, here the payment includes, of course, the coverage of the associated project costs and a fixed fee that is paid up to a maximum cost. So there is a particular higher bar, higher level of maximum cost, which is the fixed fee. Okay, the fixed fee takes the form of guaranteed maximum price in this case. Okay, in case the guaranteed maximum price is not reached after the completion of project, then the difference between the total cost and the guaranteed maximum price, okay, will not be paid out. Okay, this way the owner can save some money. Okay, and it's quite possible that the builder and the owner may agree to split the savings. Okay, the savings actually occur only because of the contractor, because it's the contractor who is overlooking the entire progress of construction work. So in case there are savings, then the both the builder and the contractor may agree to split the saving. Okay, so this way the builder could keep the cost under the guaranteed maximum price. Okay, anyway, students, even if you don't understand cost plus guaranteed maximum price contract, you need not worry. Okay, it was not included in the textbook of Gehlot and Deal. So even if you don't understand, you may just omit this topic. Okay, now, apart from all these, okay, you might have studied about the special contracts. Okay, so these are the miscellaneous contracts. The first type of contract under special contract is nothing but turnkey contract. Now, turnkey contract is typically a construction contract where a contractor is employed to plan, design, and build a project or an infrastructure or any other necessary development to make it functional or ready to use at an agreed price and by a fixed date. Okay, so a lot of terms in this particular definition, quite a big definition. Okay, you may like to split it up into smaller sentences as well. Okay, so what we need to understand is in this contract, okay, the contractor would be taking care of the entire work. Okay, so he works on the particular project. Okay, and when he completes it, it is ready to use. Okay, and the price is agreed upon before the start of the project, and the date of completion is also known. Okay, so basically what you need to understand, okay, you need to remember the keyword ready to use. Okay, so the contractor, when he works under a turnkey contract, okay, he makes the particular building or the business ready to be used. Okay, so these contracts have been mostly used in real estate and with service businesses. Okay, so in real estate project, a business, an individual could sign a turnkey contract. Okay, and then that they could just outsource the work to the to the developer or the construction company to handle it completely. Okay, mostly we need to understand the complete handling and making the project ready to use is something which is an element of turnkey contract. Okay, and the project in case of a turnkey contract could be the full construction of a home, office building, okay, and industrial complex or a manufacturing plant, and so on. So we have another special type of contract which is known as the negotiated contract. Okay, negotiated contract is generally a contract where one of the parties is government. Okay, and then on the other hand are some reputed contractors, reputed developers. So in this case, okay, this in case of a negotiated contract, okay, we don't generally call tenders on and the entire agreement takes place on the basis of negotiations. Okay, so when the contractor is awarded without calling tenders and it is awarded on the basis of negotiations alone, it is known as negotiated contract. Okay, now how are the different contractors invited? Okay, especially these contractors would be having a special reputation, they would have some good understanding with the government. Okay, and on that basis they would be called. There are other factors which are also taken into account while inviting them. First one is capability of the past experience in specific area. So the party, the government would look into the experience of the contractor in that particular area of work, then whether there are people available to accomplish the work in that specified time frame. Okay, then the bid or the estimate price which has been quoted by the contractor, then also proposed method for compensation including amount of fee if there is any kind of delay. Okay, and if then what is the compensation amount and in what way that amount would be paid. So, and moreover, it could be negotiated contract, could be competitive or non-competitive. Generally, it is non-competitive because you know the government simply selects few known contractors, calls them for a meeting and then goes for negotiations, and they would finally single out or select one contractor. Okay. Okay, there are some other few types of contracts. Now, package contract, okay, as the name suggests, it's a pack of two or more related jobs. Jobs means the specific constructional activity. Okay, now there could be two different contracts generally, but these two contracts would be combined in a single contract. So, for example, design and development could be combined with construction and supply or maintenance. Okay, the another type of continuing contract is known as continuing contract. Okay, so in continuing contract, we don't draft a new contract document. Rather, we have a existing contract. Okay, the on the basis of the terms and condition that contract has been awarded to a contractor. So now the fresh work would be issued to the contractor on the basis of the same contract. So that is known as the continuing contract. And so in this case, okay, we could save time and money, which generally goes into the processing and documentation of the contract. Okay, third type of contract is known as a running contract. Now, here, under these contracts, okay, we consult any particular consultancy or an organization for goods and services at specified intervals. Okay, as and when they are required by the owner. So this is a running contract, means contract which is in progress, which is continuing. Uh, the contract price will not be fixed. Okay, and because the amount is dependent or proportional to the quantity of actual goods supplied and the services rendered. Okay, which would already be mentioned in the contract document. So this is the gist of running contract. Okay.